Hello, hello, hello. It's Anne Lewis, your independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based on the Sunshine Coast here in Queensland, Australia. I teach card making and scrapbooking and love sharing my passion with you. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this step-by-step video, I will be sharing some of my favourite techniques, tips and tricks to make your card making even more fun. Each of the products featured is available from my online store with the link in the description. What makes these projects even better is that you can use your cardstock, pattern paper and inks from your stash. You don't need to have what I'm using tonight. So again tonight I will be doing a random draw, so someone who leaves a comment will receive a card from me in the mail. More comments, more chances. And then I'll just show you. Sorry, you've seen the project. So good of you to join me. Hi, Glenda. Thank you very much. And hi, the other Glenda. I've got, as I always say, two Glendas here. This is my card for tonight. I know it's a little dark where I am, but there's a reason for that. And that is that I can have the light on my desk or I can have the light on me. So I choose to have it on the desk. So this is the card I am making. So I'll put you down to the desk again and I'll show you the projects or the products and then we'll get started. I'll just give it a couple of secs. So I will show you up close what this card actually looks like. So it's super, super cute. Now I have to say, in my head, I had planned that it was going to be a very simple card. I'm only doing one tonight because tomorrow I'm heading off to Melbourne and I was running a little late. And this card did take me a little longer, as it always does when you're designing from scratch. So I'll put that back down. I am using two stamp sets tonight. I'm using the Pets and More stamp set, and I'll explain, it's two-step stamping. I'll explain how these two images work, how Stampin' Up work their stamps to get one stamp to do the two steps, which is really quite interesting. And it's an easy card in many ways. It just had a few differences as I tried to go through it, so I had to work a few things out. And the other stamp set that I'm going to be using is the Hooray for Surprises, which is one of my old favourites from, even though it's from the mini catalogue, you will see I have used it lots. How do you know whether someone has used their stamp sets a lot? By the colours. If it's been stained, you know it's been used lots. So back to a favourite tonight. And I'm also showcasing these are the alphabets. And I'm using the mini alphabet. And if you haven't seen those before, hi Sharon, haven't seen those before. They come in one piece. So I've actually written on the back of mine, which is now rubbed off, but I'm pretty sure it's 3 inches by 5.5 inches. And I did have the centimetre ones, but I can't remember those. So that's the size of the sheet. You've got to cut them all out at one time. Unless you want just one letter or a couple of letters, you could just scatter your paper or cardstock where you actually want it. So I wanted to show you a couple of two different ways how you can use these. There's lots and lots of different ways, but we didn't have time for too many. And I've done some of the die cutting. I've cut out the words that I'm going to be using in the second card already. And I'll show you how I got that fabulous design on there, on my letters, because that's one of the techniques that I'm showcasing tonight. And there's the inside of the card. So he's super, super cute. I went with pink because I wanted something that was sweet tonight. I don't know why. I'm not normally, don't do a lot of pinks. I do a little bit of pastel, but I don't normally go pink. But I love this paper, which is from the Delightfully Eclectic Designer Series paper. There's 48 sheets in this pack, and I have been using it lots, and I've still got some sheets left. So it's, I don't know how to describe it. It's not all one theme. There's a whole lot of different themes. So because there's 4 sheets in the pack, you can see how nice the colours are and the patterns are. Wait a minute, I should turn that one over. It's one of my favourites. That one I used for mystery cards 1 month. I mean, it's just a little, it's got a lot of fun to it. It's got these little letters that you can also cut out. So if you don't have the right word, I could have used that tonight. And here's the last sheet. Oh no, I had 2 of that. And the other paper I'm going to be using, which I used for the letters, was the Zoo Crew Designer Series paper. It's just a black and, well, on one side it's black and white. So I use this pattern here, and you'll see what I did with it. And I've done this a couple of times with letters. So you can see one side black and white. Perfect when you don't know what colour might match. Nearly always black will match. So let's get started. Hi Madeline, how are you? Good to see everybody here. If you're watching, let me know where you're watching from. So my card, oh, wait a minute. Let's throw up. This is the measurements. So you can screenshot this if you like. So hopefully you can see that. So that makes it a little easier. So I'll give you a couple of secs. I always put the photo on in case you later print this up, and then you will know which card it actually is. So take that right out. So hopefully you've screenshot by now. So let's get started. So I've got my bubble bath cardstock here. I'm going to, oops. Score it. I'll tell you, I'm going to score it at 4 1/8. But my card base is 8 1/4 inches by 5 1/2. So I score first, grab my bone folder, and then just make sure that my corners are nicely lined up, unlike what that one was. I can just go over and fix that. Then my next sheet, I'm going off memory here, let's be honest. My next sheet is 5 1/4 by 3 7/8. Then I've got my Designer Series paper, which is that Delightfully Eclectic. And I can actually put this together. So I can do that now whilst I work through. Look at this. Just made this week. Love it. It works so well. I've done a video on how to do it. So I'm using my multi-purpose glue as always. Got a bit of crappy stuff on there. Which works with a really nice fine beading of adhesive. Oops. So I always say it's a little hard when my head is not that close over where I'm working. So now I can adhere that. Now I could have popped this up, but I like the idea Thanks, Glenda. And hi, Julianne. Hi, Marianne. Marianne just lives down the road from me. Well, a little further than just down the road, but not too far away. So with those measurements, I get an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. So done that. So now I'm going to grab this layer here, so the basic white layer, and it's 2 3/8 by 5 1/8. So I'm going to turn it over, and hopefully I don't have to rub out those. And let's get stamping. So I have to show you something. Obviously, I'm not good at picking my animals. Originally, I trialled this card, and I used where's my stamp set? I used the pussycat, and I thought this was another pussycat. But once I stamped it, I realised it's a fox. So I had to redo that, but it was a good... I also, and you can see what I did here, this, and you'll understand when I get a little further in, this was a little dark for me. He was quite cute. I did him with Stamping Blends, but that was a little dark doing the 2-step stamping as normal. But I've got a different technique now. So I'm grabbing my pussycat. So who's a cat person? I have not been able to find you. You found me, Gail. I'm still on YouTube because I know you sometimes watch me on YouTube. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you, these were brand new stamps today. And so brand new photopolymer stamps don't always stamp perfectly. So what I always do with them is I clean them on my stamping scrub, but I also stamp with it quite a few times until it gets a really nice image. Now, this was the first one. You can see it was patchy, but by the time I stopped, it was looking a lot better. So that's why I always, on new stamps, clean them, and then I will stamp them off a few times just to condition them. So I'm using Memento black ink, and I've already got it on my fingers. How does that happen? Truly. Must be a bit on the edge, but it's okay. We can cope. I may have to rub that off now. Make sure I don't have any... This just was a little mark. I mean, it wasn't going to ruin it, but let's start with a little better. Oh, yeah. And I turned it over. I don't know why I did that. So I want to line this up in the centre, and so top and bottom, and it's just about the same from the side as well. And to be honest, I haven't actually tested this design. So there we go. And I'm going to put the puppy dog in. So I keep them all level at the bottom, but he's bigger than the pussycat. So there you go. So that's how the first generation of stamping looks, and you could definitely leave it like that, but I wanted to show you how these stamps actually work. So I'm going to bring the pussycat back over. I'm going to grab my stamping scrub because I want to clean the stamp sets, and I want to turn them over. Now these stamp sets are designed that when you turn them over, they will fit perfectly. So I can add shading really simply. Now, as always, I talk about at least 3 points, preferably 4 points to line it up to make sure you've got it right. So I think that's pretty good, but it doesn't matter yet. And then the same on this one. So I've cleaned it. I'm going to turn it over, grab my smoky slate. Ugh. And, oops, that's not working. I want to turn this over so it's nice and flat. So I'm on the flat sides. Oh, that one was right. So the detail is down. So I'm hoping you will see. So that's the rough side. This is the smooth side that normally sticks on your block, but this time we're going to turn them over. And again, remember I said I'm going to line it up with 3 to 4 points. So I'm going to stamp this like this, and you will see I don't want lots and lots of colour, but I've got to take some off because I didn't like that really dark colour. So I'll just stamp it. Let's put it here so you can see it. I just press it down, not too dark, and you can see I will have taken a lot of that colour off. I might just move this down just a little so I can see a bit clearer. So I hover it over before I stamp it. Line up those 4 points. And then just stamp it down. Oh, that's a lot darker than the first one. So much darker. I obviously didn't press it as much. Let's try the puppy. You can always see with these solid stamps whether it's all stamped. So I don't want to press any more. This is going to be a little, so I'll line him up again. And there's some really good detail in these stamps that make them easy to line up. So I like the eyes, the nose, and the feet. Anyway, so there we go. He's a lot darker. I like the first one better. I'm not going to stop, or otherwise I'll be here all night. That was so easy. That was such an easy one. But anyway, they're looking a little darker, but that's okay. So this time I'm going to change up how I do the word. So I'll do the first letter. Sorry, oh no, they're all here. I thought I'd lost one. Now, there's a number of ways you can do this. But you could do it before you die cut it, or you can do it after. Because I thought I had to die cut a few of these. Because I thought I'd use these with other colours, I didn't want to do it beforehand. Oops, I collected a bee. So this time I've got a dark bubble bath stamping blend. I want the brush tip. This doesn't take very long at all, but I'll come over here because those who know me know I hate dirtying my grid paper. Now I don't care, to be honest, but let's keep my work desk a little cleaner. Ah, so Madeline likes the darker ones. That makes me feel a bit better, Madeline. Okay, so then I'm grabbing the light smoky slate. Now, I should show you what I did. So all I did was basically put some lines through it at an angle. Oh, these are hard to see. Maybe that'll help you. So you can see I've just flicked some of the bubble bath lines through. Then I will grab, this is the smoky slate. Really, there's no right or wrong. So I've got 3 colours on here, the designer series paper, which you would have seen at the very start. And then I've just coloured them like this. So it's just a way of stepping up your letters. And more for me, this worked for this card. I couldn't find any other way of doing them to make them pop. So what will happen, I'm not putting them on yet, I can't even catch them at the moment, is I will put them there. This word, so it's love. Don't worry about how they're sticking. Now some of my letters have got adhesive sheets on the back and others didn't because I did quite a few cuts. I know. So just think of it like that. But I'm going to add a stamp here. So it says sending you lots of love. So this is going to be on the front. This one had big hugs, but I didn't want to cut. This had 2 G's in it and there's only 1 G in the alphabet, even though all the popular letters have 2. G's obviously aren't considered popular. So I just want to do a sending you lots of, and there's my word love. So I only want to, I'll show you this, I only want to stamp down there. I want to leave that love off. So the way I will do it, and I'll have a play with this first, is I will, well actually it's easier to go like this when you want to do this, is put the stamps downwards, have the clear stamp up here, which makes it a little easier, and then you can line up the words that you want with the edge of the stamp. Now, a team member showed me this. I used to always cover them. Always double check. I know, I think that's pretty good. I've got nothing on the word love, so let's put this down here. Let's just get rid of those. I'll drop this down a bit. There we go. Oh, that word, that Y, I missed that. Sending you lots of the bottom of that Y. Let's see if I can go back and line it up. Again, it's another one of those cases where you're at least going to, I think I missed it, I did miss it on the stamp. So where's my ink pad? Here it is. Let's have another go and see if I can fix this. You know what happens if I can't? Oh, I can see why. It lines up with that L pretty easy. Alright, so I'm just gonna do it this way. That's better. Let's see if I can fix this. If I can't fix it, what would happen is I would just cover it. Cut another piece of paper out, pop it up so it looks like it should be like that. Having a little bit of trouble lining this up. There we go. That's not too bad, and there's the Y. So I then want to add the love. I might have to colour that later, but you'll get the idea of what I'm doing. So this is where my love.
Make sure your speaker is connected and try again.
Took 30 years off my life. Not that Apple listens to me. Well, that's Google. So I want to put those there. But I've got a bit of a technique here. I'm sure I've shown you this before. So I'm just going to arrange these on my, I've lost a letter in that 2 seconds. What happened to it? Come Come on, Glenda, you can always see these things. What happened to my L? It was right there. Not on my fingers. Just looking for the lid for the black ink. Oh, here it is. I can find it. I can see why I got ink on my finger. Oh, here it is, over here. Obviously threw it somewhere. I don't. So I'm going to line it.
Make sure your speaker is connected and try again.
I'm going to line this up on my grid paper. And the grid paper just helps me get it even. And I can decide how far up and down. Now, I always use my take a pick tool wholly and solely because if I use my fingers and they've got any glue on it, I'll be fighting it forever. And they stick to your fingers, these letters. And I can just tap them up to where I want them. I'm pretty happy with that. I know. So I'm going to get some low-tack washi tape. First off, I'm going to clean my fingers from touching that ink. It's in there's some ink on that lid. I know. So I'm going to get, I've only picked thin washi tape. This is just old retired Stampin' Up washi tape. Nothing special about it. So I put it along over the top of it, and then I can actually pick it up like that, and it stays together and it stays nice and straight. Then I'm going to turn it over, and you can see, well, I'm hoping you can see. Let's put it on here again. I know. You can see some of them have adhesive on the adhesive sheets. Now this one doesn't, and I don't think that one does, and that one doesn't either, but this one and this one do. And that's only because I put it through a number of times. So I'll take the adhesive sheets off first. And this way you actually get to see two different ways. Now for me, these mini alphabet letters are so easy to glue that I don't normally bother with adhesive sheets. And then this one. Then I'll have to add the multi-purpose glue to the other. And this is one of the reasons I don't bother with it, because sometimes they're a bit fiddly to get up. Not always. Depends on how much. Sometimes I've got to move them around a bit. There we go. So I just find it easier to use multi-purpose adhesive. So on the two that haven't got the adhesive on, I'll now add it. I'm not going to put a lot on because I don't want it to squish out. It's a bit hot in this room tonight. I know. So I'm going to turn that over and we'll add. So you can see I can, it's really easy then. So then I'm going to drop it down here where I want it. I want it lined up, probably about there, or maybe there. Then I stick it down, I rub my fingers over it. Now I could use, rather than my ink stained fingers, my embossing, my bone folder. Now, I would let this dry just a couple of secs and I will then go to the insert that I've got sitting here. So let's stamp. This time I'm going to add, hope your, what does it say? Hope your birthday is wonderful. I'll try and keep my fingers out of the way here. Using that washi tape is brilliant. Thank you. What else? I don't know. See, now this card is a landscape card, so I want to turn it into landscape. Get rid of some of this stuff. Get the glue out of the way. All right, so I always try and line up my, especially when I'm doing this live, try and line it up on the grid paper because it's so hard for me to get over the top. Then I want to add that little pussycat head, so I want to turn him over again. Just want to stick him down, so I will ink him up. Let's just put him a little cute pussycat peeking. Now I could put him that way, but I'll put him in the corner. There we go. Let's put the lid back on so the inside is done. Just while that is drying. I just got a bit of black on my fingers, which I'm trying to avoid. So again, I'll just make sure my border's all the way around, nice and even. I know, so let's bring my card back and put it together. I'll leave that dry a couple more secs. Still got a couple more things to do, but not a lot. As I said, I knew this card was going to take a little longer than some of mine. So I thought one card, cute card, but one card would be okay. Oops. Lucky I saw that. I know, so we're coming back here. I'll still let it dry a little longer. It'll be well and truly dry, but let's just do the last couple of things. So what I did do is I added a pink nose and little pink ears, and I added a little pink tag just to tie it all together. Whoops. Then I've got a little heart that comes out of that hooray for surprises. Not always, it's one of those stamps that you've got to pay a bit of attention to. So I'll just put a heart probably over here. As I said, he's always a little difficult, this one. I might have to die cut him. A little heart here. There we go. Perfect. Perfect after 3 attempts. He's just a little stamp. He doesn't always stamp like I want him to. Then, just going to add, or let's pull this up if you're wondering how this is going to go. So using a take-a-pick tool, or as I used to call them, pokey tool, or something to hold it down, just gently peel this off and just support each of those letters so they don't, if you haven't let them dry, so they don't come up. See, done. And it just adds a little bit of oomph. Now, I had one more thing to add. So I want to add these, which are loose silver sequins. So I do need some adhesive. Got to decide where I'm going to put them. Put one over here. Won't be in the same place because it's slightly different. One there. Oh, I don't know, one there. One there. And maybe one up there. So I've gone 5, which is few more than what I normally do. Now I'm going to use the putty end of my Take a Pick tool. Oh, I forgot one. I added one more than I meant to. So I just then use the, these are quite cute. Oh, my fingers are got a bit of glue on them there. I'll put that one there. Now this glue, even though it hasn't yet, dries clear. So when it's first put down, it's white in colour. And then I've got one more down the bottom. And I've got one more. Oh, I've got a whole lot of them there. Yeah, and I've got one more to add because I put one on his little collar. Here's my adhesive. Then we put this card together. Taking my tag up. Oh, there we go. So you will see that pink through it once it dries. So I've got the last step. And I've got a couple of ways I can do this. Normally I cut this down, but I'm not going to today. I'm just going to trim it off. So to add the little black strips that you can just see peeping through, I kept them really tiny. I'll add a bead of adhesive. Don't want a lot because I definitely don't want it to squish through. Put end to end. And I line up my little border. Line up one end and just lay it down. Whoops, moved a bit. Then I'll just trim this off. Now, I could have cut it to size, but I find trimming it afterwards a little bit more accurate. I've got a little bit showing here. Just a tiny bit. You won't see that because it butts up against the black. Then I've got another strip. Here I'll do exactly the same. I find it easier to apply to the adhesive to the card base rather than the border. But everybody has a different way of doing things. This time I'll come down a little. Happy with that. I love the wiggle room this adhesive gives me. Right, get rid of that. Put this together. So I said it has a few layers and a few different bits and pieces. And no, you wouldn't make 100 of them. But it's a fun card to make. Let's get this up the right way. Yep. I'll place it. And place it in the middle, which is my choice. But you could drop it down or put it up. So cute as that pussycat head. I'm glad you like that. So, Madeline voted that she liked the dark one better. And I'll just bring it up so you can see. So these are, whilst they don't look like it at the moment, these are the sequins, these little marks here. They'll dry clear. They just haven't dried yet. Or do you like the light coloured one? So And now let me know whilst I just say goodbye. So I am away for the next few days in Melbourne attending on stage for Stamping Up. So I get to catch up with lots of other demonstrators and friends that I haven't seen for a fair while. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I will be back later this week. So thanks everybody. Thanks for joining me. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel or my Facebook page. And I will be back next week for another exciting project. I think it's going to be Magnolia Mood stamp set and dies. I nearly used that today, but for some unknown reason, I had to have a play with this one. So thanks everybody for joining me. Really appreciate it.